Then we have connected with Vastu and other things the problem of Karma Siddhanta and Punarjanma. Here I have to say, many people say that Hinduism, Sanatana Dharma, has its base on the theory of karma. And naturally, Punarjanma Siddhanta is byproduct of karma. But it is wrong. Karma Siddhanta, the theory of karma, cannot be the bedrock of Sanatana Dharma. For the karma itself is relative term. Unless we have the Triputi, Kartru, Karma and Kriya, we cannot think of karma. So only at the level of relative world, duality, at the frame of space and time, karma can exist. Only at the level of mind and below the mind, karma can exist, not beyond the mind. But the foundation of Indian culture is in Ananda, Satchidananda, not in these things. And in the whole gamut of Veda, as P.V. Kane himself says, even last night I was reading his history of Dharmashastra, last volume, the penultimate chapter perhaps, almost for 100 pages he discusses all these things and says, in the whole of Rig Veda, we never come across Punarjanma or Karma as it is understood today. And he refutes R.D. Ranade to a great extent for having seen these things. And even Paul Deussen. Why I am saying this? Punarjanma and Karma, they are not wrong, but they are relative. It's far more better to have Punarjanma Siddhanta than no Punarjanma Siddhanta as the Semitic people follow. Punarjanma Siddhanta, the concept of rebirth, is far more logical and tenable. We shall accept it, but it is not the foundation of Sanatana Dharma. They all come at the secondary level. And whether they are real or not, assuming them is good. This is how we have to see. It has to be taken at the level of Aharya Satta, as I told. And taking Karma Siddhanta to the absolute levels, it ditches. Then we have the Kalpa Sutras, we have the Dharma Shastras. I told about the Shrauta Sutra, Grihya Sutra, and then Shulba Sutra, and Dharma Sutras. The Dharma Sutras, they are the short and sweet. I can't say always sweet. When they are difficult to interpret, they become bitter too. But they are cryptic, mnemonic lines, mostly prose passages. They are called sutras, alpaksharam, asandigdham, saravad, vishwatomukham, astobham, anavadyancha, sutram, sutra vido viduhum. Brevity is their soul, as Shakespeare says. And asandigdham, they should be unambiguous, saravat, full of essence, sarvatomukham, universal in application, astobham, not agglomerating, anavadyam, without a blemish. Such a composition is called sutra. And the unique feature of Indian literature, especially Sanskrit literature, is the sutra krama. Sutra literally means string. The memory strings to connect so many things. And even the Tamil tradition has preserved that noolgal, that's what we say in Tamil. Again and again we have reference to noolgal. To think that Tamil tradition and Sanskrit are two different, discrete traditions is a very big sign of ignorance and a greater sign of hypocrisy and cheating. I shall come to them later. Well, in the Dharma Sutras, we have the four aspects: Achara, Vyavahara, Prayaschitta and Danda. Achara means one should be righteous to for one's own self. One's honesty for one's own self. Means I have to be right for myself. On my own accord, I am honest. I am dutiful. Like that, the honesty to one's own self, answerability to one's own self is called Achara. The honesty and righteousness with respect to others, that is Vyavahara. And then, if I go wrong in my honesty of my own self, whatever steps I take to rectify or to punish myself, then that is called Prayaschitta, purgation or emancipying the sins. And if I go wrong in honesty or in meaningful relationship with respect to others, then what punishment is incurred, what punishment will be given, that is called danda. In prayashchitta, I will be aware of that. I am going wrong. So, the punishment comes from myself with the advice of others, of course. But in danda, I will be pulled to the court. And here, a society which is truly spiritual and secular will manage all these four padas. But a so-called secular society will only concentrate on vyavahara and danda. Means my correctness with respect to others. As James Hadley Chase used to say, every man is a criminal until he is caught. Every man will be a criminal only when he is caught. Unless he is caught, he is not. So, not seen in the from the eyes of law and order, that makes me to have a clean sheet. It is the sense of modernity. Means moral or ethics or whatever seen from the third eye, not even from the second eye. But here it is not. From the first hand evidence itself, I am wrong or I am right. So self-accountability is very much. This achara is most important. And that's why Manu says achar paramo dharmaha, achar paramam tapa, achar paramam jnanam, acharat kimna shakyate. Self-accountability is very important. Any flourishing society, any good establishment should have this. Individual responsibility should never be at stakes. And that is found in achara. And in our constitution, you see, we have so many things dealing with vyavahara and danda, Indian Penal Code, criminal and civil laws, but nothing for achara. A governance should have all these things. Why our Dharma Shastras are not applicable now? Because there is no authority which is good enough to consider all the four aspects. If they consider, naturally it will be. Unfortunately, our constitution framing experts, they never looked at the tradition of Indian constitutions. Every smriti is a constitution of its own right, of its own accord. More than 40 smritis are there, more than 20 Dharma Sutras are available, and thousands of works on Dharma Shastras are available. I know not all are good, but at the same time we have our own, but we never looked into. My brother again and again says, Indian constitution is paradise of advocates. For all confusion. It's a khichdi of so many constitutions. No doubt it's good in several ways. But at the same time, it completely ignored. And even whatever little it has been kept in darkness. For example, how many of us know? Even I was not knowing till recent years when my advocate friends showed the calligraphed text of constitution. There we have the paintings of Rama, Krishna, Buddha, Shiva and others. And there we have all so-called religious representations of Sanatana Dharma. But nobody has revealed that. When our constitution itself enshrines the paintings of Rama, Krishna, Shiva, Shakti and others, Buddha, why we think that we are secular? This word secular has been used by Indira Gandhi during the time of emergency. Till then it was not present in constitution. It should be removed and other word dharmic has to be added there. Dharma in the truest sense is secular in all its good spirits. Well, so these four aspects of Dharma Shastra that should be well taken care of. And then we have in Dharmas too, Samanya and Vishesha. I told much about Samanya Dharma, the basic values, human values as they are called nowadays, Ahimsa, Satya, Asteya, Shaucha, Indriya, Nigrahan. And in Vishesha Dharma we have Varna Dharma, Ashrama Dharma, Raja Dharma, Apad Dharma. What is right at the time of calamity? I have to do something. We have a beautiful story from Chandogya Upanishad that will tell you in a very intimate manner. It's a very telling story. One person by name Ushasti Chakrayana, he with his wife was moving as a wanderer, traveler in quest of his fortunes during the famine time. Then he went to one village occupied by the mahouts of elephants. Apart from the mahouts, Ibhya Grama, it is said, nobody were there. So all were not of his caste or his varna. So they are supposed to be of lower varna and all. One mahout was eating the shundal or usli, whatever we call, cooked grams. Chakrayana said, "You give me some food. I have already tasted." See, this is the problem of English. ಎಂಜಲ ಆಗಿದೆ, ವಾಟ್ ಟು ಸೇ, ಅದು ಎಚ್ಚಲ ಇருக்கு. I don't know how to frame it in English. Can anybody come to my help? It's touched by my saliva, can I say so? Because English has no sense of that. So I've already tasted, it is uchishta. It's not good for you. Then he says, no, this is apadharma, you give me. I will have the food. Why not take water? No, that is tasted by you. You have nothing against taking these grams, but you find so much for water. Then he says, water is available elsewhere. To that extent, I shall protect my dharma, my purity. But food is not available anywhere. That's why I am making a compromise. So, apadharma is compromise. How far, what far, where, and all these things. Like that, we have many such telling stories. And these are included in the heading of Vishesha Dharma. And Vishesha Dharma changes from place to place, time to time. And that's why we have no difficulty in changing Sanatana Dharma to suit its peripheral practices. But the core essential principles, they remain. And then the Raja Dharma, the administration, law and order, and Varna Dharma of the caste or the chosen professions. And then we have the Ashrama Dharma, the phases of life. I have dealt with them in the first meeting itself. Then we have the Shodash Sanskaras, the 16 Sanskaras. Not all are very, very essential, but the Atmagunas are essential, I told earlier itself. Those who have not gone through the Atmagunas, there is no use of having completed all the Shodasha or 40 Samskaras, as including the Shrauta Yagas and all. But anyhow, these Samskaras are essential because they are meant for the commoners. A common man needs a method and a way of grooming. And these Samskaras are meant for one and all, starting before birth, even before birth and even after death. Janma Purva Sanskaras are there, and then Marananantara Sanskaras are also there. Birth has to be celebrated, and even the death, and the whole life. This is the purpose, and this is the idea behind that. And Samskara means well-doing, finishing well. Samyakkaranam Sanskaraha. And culture, in the Western sense, is more a generic term. It is used in the collective manner. But Samskara is used only in the individual sense. We don't have in Sanskrit, though we have the word like Sanskriti, it's a later meaning. It's a word of ancient origin, but the meaning is of later. It is used as a counterpart of culture, is of a later development. Because the West is more society oriented and the individual is never taken care of, especially in the spiritual pursuit. The individual freedom is very much the secular pursuits. But in our tradition, the individual freedom is much more in the spiritual pursuit, but not in the secular pursuits. In secular pursuits, perhaps for the balance of entropy, I think it's better to remain to a rule. In the spiritual pursuit, one should be free of all these things. Because of these reasons, when we see Samskara is individual accountability. To make a whole society accountable for a thing is very difficult. It is how to show forest in trees, among the trees. But it is very easy to show a tree. Individual accountability is always possible, and so individual upliftment. In that sense, samskaras are a tangible approach. And here we have the Janmapura Sanskaras, Garbhadana, Pumsavana, and Simantonnaina. And then after the birth, we have the Jata Karma, and then Abhinishkramana, Vishnu Bali, Namakarana, Karnaveda, then Annaprashana, Chudakarana, Upanayana, and the 4 Veda Vratas. And then the Vivaha, and ultimately the Antyeshti. Means here, even inception is a ritual. And then expecting a male child or a female child, whatever, that is another thing. And then fulfilling the desires of the pregnant woman, it is another ritual, another samskara. And then at the very birth of the child, celebrating that is another ritual. And taking the birth to sunlight is another ritual. And here, so much of science and art are all involved. Taking the birth to sun's light and keeping it for a few months, every day taking and keeping it in sun's light, you know how it will be useful for absorbing the sun's light and then enriching the vitamin D content. That is called Vishnu Bali. And then taking the child all over the home and then getting it acquainted with the things, that is called Abhinishkramana. Means whether the child knows or not, it is our duty to get acquainted with one and all. And we know these practices are present even in many, many primitive cultures also. When a newborn child, when a child is born, the people come there. In New Guinea islands, it is even today practiced. One and all in the community they come, and the child or the baby will be touched by this, and they whisper, the mother and father, they whisper in the ears of the baby, these are good people, they belong to us. They make every tree, every bush, every animal, this is ours, this is good, like that. Manu says, Bhadram Bhadram iti bruyat. Whether we know it or not, knowingly or unknowingly, this way of good has to be harbored, and that is the meaning found in Abhinishkramana. And then we have Karnaveda, the piercing of the ears, and then feeding the solid food. Till then, mother's milk will be, the breastfeeding will be there. 1 year at the age of the completion of the first year, at the time of first year, Annaprashana. And then Chudakarana, that is the removing the birth hair, that is the 3rd year, and then the Upanayana. The initiation ceremony, earlier there was no sacred thread, I had told about that, it is only a smartha mantra. So initiating to education, that is admission to school, that is Upanayana. And Upakarma is reopening of the school. Upanayana generally performed during the Vasanta season, because the weather is conducive, day will be longer, night will be shorter, no problem of serving bed and blanket to guests, and no problem of moonlight also, because it will be performed during the Shukla Paksha, the full moon nights. And then no problem of hot water and other things, because it is summer. So all these conveniences are there. Nowadays we can book chowdhuries and all. We don't know what is happening in the seasons. No changes will be observed and will be felt as well by us. But in those days when human beings were very close to nature, they wanted conducive time also. Accordingly, they used to perform. And from Vasanta to the Varsha Kala, the Shravana Purnima, almost we have 4 or 5 months. That is for the bridge course for the students. From school admission to school opening, they have to wait for that. Within that short time, some basic things will be taught. And then we have, in the Chudakarana itself, Aksharabhyasa used to be done, writing the alphabets and knowing at the age of 3. And the school uniform used to be the Vatuvesha, the dress of the Upanita Vatu. In the time of Upanayana, used to be something like a school uniform. It is said, some of the Smritis, that the Rigvedis should have the whole hair without being shaved, and Yajurvedis half, and Samvedis Goshpada, something of 1 foot of the cuff, that much of area that has to be left, and the rest have to be shaven. And for Samveda, fully the head has to be shaven, like that. And different colors for the different Varnas. So like we have the blue house, green house, red house, like that. in the schools nowadays with different T-shirts and all like that. They add the fancy and all. It's good. Okay. Like that, everything in this Upanayana Samskara is symbolic. The student is made to stand on a stone, Ashmarohana, as firm footing, and the teacher will touch his heart and say, our hearts shall be conversant with each other, and you reciprocate according to my heartbeat, like that. That is the Hridaya Sparsha Kriya. And the same ritual is followed in marriage also. The husband will touch the heart of the wife and says, may our hearts pulsate similarly, like that. And the woman will be standing on the stone, firm footing and all that. Like that, the Acharya will be taking one handful of water and pouring it completely to the hands of student, indicating that I will not withhold any knowledge of mine. I will be completely, honestly offering all that I have to you, like that. And then he takes, please give me a boon. What is that boon? Don't sleep in the daytime. You wake up in the early morning and take a dip and go for Bhikshatanam, and don't indulge yourself in amusements, and don't be body conscious, and don't waste your time and money after the cosmetics and other ornaments, like that. Then student says, Varamte dadami guru, well, I have given you this boon. See, teacher asking student a boon and he giving. As nowadays it happens in our colleges. I follow these rules and regulations, so on and so forth, and then signature. Like that it is. So much of contemporaneity is there in spirit. Only thing is, the person who is performing all these things, the Acharya, the Purohit, he should make them know that, and even the people who are involved there, they should know that. If it becomes something like a ceremony function, only videographing and then smiling, posing and handshaking with the friends and all that, no sanctity and meaning will be present there. One and all should know. One and all should be involved. For that, it is better not to invite many people. If they want that, in the evening or next day, they may have a party there. Well, so if people are there, they have to be in tune with that ritual. Then the total meaning and effect will be present. And so also in Vivaha. It's a very simple thing. And many people think that even today, marriage and all that, it has become pomp and glory, showy and all that. But our rituals, they never demand anything. A cup full of ghee and handful of fire sticks and another handful of darbha grass. That's all needed for the ritual. Nothing more apart from the mantras. And all the marriage rituals, they will be ended within a span of 1.5 hours or 1 hour at the maximum. Why nowadays marriage is taking a lot of time? Because so many things that they never performed, starting from Namakarana, they will be performing on the day of marriage. I also request them to end up with Antyeshti. A brahmachari has to perform Samavartana, means snana, that is graduation ceremony, that is their snana, snatakopadesha, and then snana, Samavartana, winding up, and then he will be wearing all the new garments. What we have, the Kashi Yatra dress, that used to be the dress of a bachelor who has completed degree and coming out of the university, a fresh graduate, and he will be now having the rights to wear the gold rings and also golden jewelry and beautiful silk garments and of course footwear, fan, an umbrella, all to protect, and other cosmetics starting from anointing the body with the sandal paste and garlands, and he will be having special etiquette, and he will be using a lot of euphemisms also. He should not call a cow if it is barren as barren, he should call Mahadhenu. And he should not call a skull as skull. He should call, instead of Kapala, Bhagala, like that. Means how to behave with the cultured society, how to move around people, and how to talk to them, and all that. And a Snataka, a fresh graduate, should be given everything. All the gifts has to be given to him. Because a fresh graduate has to be received by the society with jubilance and warmth. Nowadays, fresh graduate will be receiving no vacancy board. Why I am saying, so much of promise, hope and glory is there. When marriage full of music and dance, all these things were there. That aspect is lost now. It has become only meeting and eating, nothing more than that. And everything is completed then and there. But in ancient India, in marriage, the couple should maintain celibacy for 3 nights. And only they have to break that on the 4th night. Triratra Vrata. And Chaturthi Karma, that is the Shobhana Prastha, Garbhadana. Means, in spite of having so much of freedom and proximity, they have to have some control over themselves. That is there. And no Balya Vivaha was there. Child marriage was unheard in ancient India. And it's only Praudha Vivaha, because the Chaturthi Karma itself is an indication. They are enabled to enjoy the pleasures of married life after the 3rd day itself. It indicates that it used to be the marriage of the grown-up people. And then we have the Antyeshti. And here many people, one question is also there. Why our people are so scared of dead body and others? Some question has come. And this is the right time to answer that. And in this session, I am inculcating the questions, incorporating the questions, answers also in my talk for saving time. No, in our tradition, dead body was never considered as inauspicious. It is the sacred firewood, the last samit. And the body is offered as a samit, sacred, holy firewood to the Agni. The whole life is yajna, and death is the avabhrata, the holy bath. That's how the Vedas say. And if a body without any responsible person to take care of the cremation and all, if it is available, if it is seen, if a person performs the last rites, he will be getting the punya of having performed hundreds of Ashwamedhas, it is said like that. Anatha Preta Samskara for that. And in our Antyeshti, so many beautiful things are there. It's very, very little. The ceremonies are very small, but the meaning is very profound. You know, whenever we hear the news of a person is no more, in front of their residence, fire will be placed. What is that fire? The fire which he used for the marriage offering, marriage oblation. That fire has to be maintained, and that is that Grihyagni. Means his body is the last samit, and in that fire he is going to offer himself as the body, as the samit. And then the people who carry the corpse, they will be invited, and at 3 places they have to keep it, means for rest. And mantras are there. Did your shoulders pain? Please bear for a few minutes. You will be reaching there, something like that. And then we will be having thanksgiving mantras to the Shavavahakas are there. And then a pot will be filled with water, and with the pot on the shoulders, the Karta who performs the Antyeshti to his father or mother or whosoever, he has to circumambulate, and after every round, one hole is made in the pot. The pot is the body, and the water is the life. And life, the lifespan pours out because of 3 things: Adhibhuta, Adhidaiva, and Adhyatma problems. Means the physical level, mental level, and the circumstantial level problems, they make one body decay and tap out the life. After the 3 circumambulations, the holes are completed and it is broken, means the body is no more present. And one stone is taken from that place, Smashana, that is called Pretashila, and that is taken as the representative of the departed soul. And for 10 days, that is taken as the body, and to that we have bathing, anointing, and then offering food, Pinda Pradana. That's all, nothing. The 10-day rituals. And then the body is offered as a ahuti, and the remains are collected, and they are, of course, disposed in water. It is fire, of course, water, air is present everywhere, and it will go to earth, and it is in space. So Panchatva, death is called Panchatva. The 5 elements have been given the due shares from the body. That's how all these things will go to their respective places. That is the indication. And not to speak of Garuda Purana, we have lot of fear, psychosis. Nobody need worry about that. Because of paucity of time, I am unable to deal all these details. But Shraddha is Shraddhaya Dadati. With all Shraddha it is done. One has to remember that. One can perform Shraddha to any departed soul, not essentially blood related. And anybody can touch any dead body. No Jivat Pitru, only when father and mother are present, they should never touch and all. It's Mumba Jumba wrong. No Prachina Shastras have said anything about that. I myself, when my father was also living, I did so many things, taking care of all these things and participating in all that. Nothing. And women can also go to burial ground. In the Rig Veda itself, we have evidence women used to go. And no sati was practiced. And widow remarriage was there. Clearly we know from that. And from the funeral pyre itself, the dead body will be placed, and the wife, she will be going and she will be sitting, and one mantra goes, you come out, now you have a new life, your life with that person is ended, and if you want you can marry some other person and go. If not, you can remember him and remain as you are, like that. The spirit of the mantra. You can refer to Rig Veda 10th mandala. Even Sayanacharya during the time of 15th century, 14th century has written the same meaning without distorting anything. Means widow remarriage, all these things were present, and women going to burial yard was never considered as a taboo. Only thing is, people may be scared, weak-minded people, for them, but it is only of psychology, not connected with any ritual as such, any prescription. I wanted to say about that, the best way of giving tributes and homage to a departed soul is in the way of Dharmodaka, the 10th day. To show our respects, we are giving a part of our punya. Punya has no English equivalent, and part of our dharma as our tribute. Means we cannot give anything to the departed soul. We can only give our wholehearted punya. Whether it goes or not, the concept itself is so beautiful. Sesame and water, they are taken and they are poured. Sesame indicating sneha and water indicating jivana, and sneha jivana, that is, even women can perform antyeshti and shraddha, no problem. Our tradition has not shunned that. And one question has come, what is Arya Samaj marriage? It's nothing but Shuddha Vaidika Vivaha. Arya Samaj has preserved the Vedic ceremonies very well, and they have done wonderful service to Veda, to preserve the Vedic texts and then to propagate them and all. But the way in which they interpret the Vedas and all, and they shun the temple culture and all, it is not at all agreeable. It's very mean in that sense. But the Hindu marriage and then making anybody Hindu, taking them to the fold of Hinduism, all these things are very, very laudable. And that is Vedic Vivaha is Hindu Vivaha. Arya Samaj Vivaha, I have attended several Vivahas. It's very nice. But we need a lot of amusements and funfair in Vivaha, in any such Vedika processes. My Samaveda Guru, yesterday also I met with him, Sheshanya Shrotigal. He always used to say, in no Apastamba Sutra or Ashvalayana Sutra, we have women wearing jewelry and silk sarees move here and there in all exuberance. But it's all needed. The glory is one aspect. The celebration is one great aspect of any ritual. If not, everything becomes Shraddha. So we need the funfair and fanfare. For all that, we have accommodation. And in our Dharma Shastra, it is said, you perform according to the advice of the old women of the villages. Shesham grama vruddhabhi shrotavya. The remaining you rest, you learn from the old women of the villages. Means so many local traditions and all, they come together. In our dance, we have Marga and Deshi. All that art which is found in the regional provinces of different tastes and different attitudes. Likewise, in our tradition, the Veda is Marga. And the local traditions are very many. The Rajasthani marriage will be something else, the Bengali marriage will be something like, the Kerala marriage will be something like, and so also in Karnataka. And even here, their vertical and horizontal cross-sections have many varieties of rituals. All are good. All have to be preserved. It's all wonderful and important. I think in that sense, we have to preserve that. But it is all in spirit with that. Everywhere we have the Vedic spirit. I can prove it beyond doubt, but paucity of time makes me not to ponder more upon that. And now coming to the Upavedas, I told Ayurveda. It's also a Veda. And here I had mentioned once long ago, every Shastra is meant for moksha, even Ayurveda. Maintaining body well is for moksha. And then it is maintaining health in all the ways, maintaining the mental health, maintaining the physical health. It's all very, very important. And the social health, all are taken care of. And we are not just bothered about the health of human beings, bothered about the health of our domesticated animals, Hastyayurveda, Ashwayurveda, Govaidya, Kukkuravidya, and even treating the dogs were there, all the pets were there, and even treating the plants, Vrikshayurveda was there, and grafting was there. And we have Ashtanga Samhita, Ashtanga Sangraha and Ashtanga concept in Ayurveda. That is Shalya Tantra, Shalakya Tantra, Kaumara Bhatya, Vajikarana, and then Agada Tantra. Like that we have. Shalya Tantra is surgical operation. Shalakya Tantra is connected with ENT. And then Agada Tantra, it is connected with detoxifying the toxins which enter in the form of animals or plants or minerals, and how to detoxify them, such things. And Vajikarana is aphrodisiac medication. And then Rasayana is tonics and other things. And then we have Kaumara Bhritya, pediatry. And Bhuta Chikitsa, it's with psychology and psychiatry. And we have the Materia Medica, that is Dravya Guna Vishesha Vibhaga. All that material, whether it is a plant product or animal product or mineral product, all are taken care of. It's a very vast science by itself that one can understand. So much of knowledge has gone into it. And a person like Dr. Krishna, one of my very good friends, who is a thorough scholar in Ayurveda and knows much about modern medicine also, he says, in the spirit of Ayurveda, no system of medication can be denied. Even modern medicine is nothing but an extension of Ayurveda. In that sense, we can as well take it. And we are so doubly blessed. In India, maximum herbal medication is there. Because India is a tropical country, we did it. I told about that earlier when I discussed about the flora and fauna of India. So all these things are there. Then Atharva Veda, Artha Veda, the Veda of economics. I told about that. Kautilya and others have written. Here, the 7 elements are treated. Saptanga, Swami, Amatya, Sugrat, Kosha, and then Prakriti, Rajya or Durga. Swami is the king or the ruler. Amatya is the ministry. Suhrat means the allies. Kosha, treasury. And then Rajya, the kingdom. And Janapada are the Prakriti, the subjects. And Durga, the fortification and the protection. And there we have the Bala, the Sainya also. So these 7 elements have to be completely analyzed and understood. And Kautilya has 18 ministers or the secretaries meant for that. We can extend the number. But look at the way in which they did it. They are called Adhyakshas. The Adhyaksha for the mines, he is called Akaradhyaksha. And Sitadhyaksha is the ministry meant for agriculture. And then Sutradhyaksha, ministry meant for textiles. And then Mudradhyaksha, ministry meant for visa, passport, permissions, and permit to exit and income, all these things. And then if you had seen the Kautilya Chanakya serial, you would have known. Somebody will be waiting at the city outpost itself, something like a check post, and he will be opening documents and seeing and then giving the seal and all that. That is that. And then Ashwadhyaksha, Gajadhyaksha, connected with the military forces of elephant and horse. And also something like the Ministry of Excise, Suradhyaksha. And Ministry for Meat Supply, the Sunadhyaksha. Suna means abitur. And then Ganikadhyaksha, Ministry for Prostitution. Yes, in ancient India, prostitution was legalized. The Vijayanagara Empire used to pay salaries to wages and salaries to all the army people just based on the income of the by taxing by collecting taxes from the prostitutes of Vijayanagar capital city itself. Means that which cannot be wiped off should be systematized. This is the way of Indian approach. So in Sanatana Dharma, that which cannot be completely wiped off has to be systematized. Of course, adultery or prostitution is not good. But one cannot get rid of it permanently, means one has to make it legal. If not, we will be having Dharavis and then the Kamatipuras and many more. Not to speak of the eastern, far eastern countries. So, we wanted to have a meaningful, healthy, practical society. That's why we have Ganikadhyaksha, Suradhyaksha, Sunadhyaksha, Shulkadhyaksha, and then Tuladhyaksha for weights, measurements, and standards. Like that, every approach, if you see in Arthashastra, so much of scientific and rational thinking behind that. Not that literally all are applicable now, but one has to take the spirit of it. And then we have the Shadgunya. Shadgunya means the 6 ways, 6 policies. For that we have mantra, that is mantralochan, what we call assembly and then thinking and then discussing and making decisions. Then Duta, sending the messengers and then moving the army, Prayana, Aji, fight, Yuddha. And Yana, that is Prayana. Samshraya means fortification, and then Dvaidi Bhava, to withdraw or to execute that debate, and then Asana, fixing permanent army in the enemy campus and then fighting against him, that is Aji, at last fight. And then we have the Chaturupaya, Sama, Dana, Bheda, Danda, negotiations by good words, and by giving or taking in terms of cash or kind, that is Dana, and then divide and rule policy, that is Bheda, and ultimately taking power in our hand and executing by authority and waging a military war and then military action, that is called Danda. Unfortunately, Britishers used a lot all these things, but we Indians could not. The Bhedopaya, Krishna, Chanakya and such people they used. This is something about Arthashastra, that is Arthaveda. And in Sthapatya Veda we have so much. The highest, topmost position is by the Sthapati or Mahasthapati, the chief engineer. And the draftsmen, designers, they are called Sutradharas. And then again, the engineers, the junior engineers, they are called Shilpis. And the workers called Karus or Karukas. Accordingly, they used to do. And we had the things like Daru Shilpa, that is the wood work, the carpentry. And then Tantu Shilpa, that is the textiles. And Shila Shilpa, that is the sculpture carving in stone. And then Swarna, Rajata, Ratna Shilpas, the goldsmith, silversmith, or such works, gemology. And Mrit Shilpa, potters. And then Ayash Shilpa, we know, the blacksmiths. And then Charma Shilpa, the cobblers. And Vamsha Shilpa, the other handicrafts of light work. All these were present there. So Shilpa Shastra Granthas are more than 90 in number, 90 in Sanskrit. So many are available. Like that, we have many things. And we have, I told something about Puranas, but I never mentioned all the 18 Puranas, 18 Mahapuranas. One shloka itself is beautiful to remember. It's very easy to remember as well. Madvayam Bhadvanchaiva Bratrayam Vachatushtayam Anapalinga Kuskani Puranani Prachakshate. Madvayam, the Purana starting with Ma, Matsya Purana and Markandeya Purana. Bhadvayam, Bha, 2 Bhas, Bhagavata Purana and Bhavishya Purana. In Bhagavata there are 2, Devi Bhagavata and Vishnu Bhagavata. And then Bratrayam, Brahma, Brahmanda, Brahma Vivarta. Vachatushtayam, Varaha, then Vishnu Purana, Vamana Purana, then Varaha, Vamana, Vishnu, and Vayu Purana. So Vachatushtayam, A Agni Purana, Na Narada Purana, Pa Padma Purana, Anapa, Lim Linga Purana, Ga Garuda Purana, Ku Kurma Purana, Ska Skanda Purana. So we have 18. That's how we have in one shloka all the 18 Puranas can be remembered. And 18 more Upapuranas are there. 18 more Upapuranas are there. Totally coming to something like 12 lakh verses. Very big volume. And so many local traditions are present. So many things are present. It's a fascinating world. One should have a lot of patience. Krishnamani Tripathi has written beautiful books on that in Sanskrit. And in English, Professor Hazra has written wonderful books on Puranas. There are many Puranic studies which have been done. And Krishnamani Vattam has written in English translation, it's also available. Puranic Encyclopedia published by Motilal Banasdas. One can find all the names and stories of Puranic characters and places, rivers, mountains and all. In Kannada also we have Purana Namachudamani and Purana Bharata Kosha, 2 works available. But Krishnamani Vattam's work is really wonderful. One more point which I have to stress regarding the Agamas. We have 3 words called Agama, Tantra and Samhita. Generally, the Vaishnavagamas are called Samhitas. Ayurbuddha Samhita, Sanat Kumara Samhita, like that. The Shaktagamas are called Tantras. And then the Shaivagamas are called Agamas. But all are called Agamas. The Agamas have 4 parts. One is Jnana or Vidyapada. Means connected with the philosophy. In the Agamas we have Dvaita, Vishishtadvaita, Shakti Vishishtadvaita, Advaita, all are there. All basic systems of philosophies are present. Some of the Agamas are Dvaita Agamas, some are Advaita Agamas and some are Vishishtadvaita Agamas. But all information is present. And then the next pada is called the Yoga Pada. In Yoga Pada, we have the Upasana Kramas, the meditation, and then the pranayamic techniques, the dhyana and other things, and the details of the gods and the mythology. And then the third pada is called the Kriya Pada, the temple traditions, starting from the opening of the temple gates to the closing of the temple gates, from the early morning to late night. And then the Charya Pada, the Utsavas, the Nityotsava, the Pakshotsava, the fortnight festivals, and then the Masotsava, the monthly festivals, and then Samvatsarotsavas, the Brahmotsavas, like that. Puranas for teaching children, I think Krishnamani Vattam's Puranic Encyclopedia will do. And then you can refer to the simple books in English are available on Puranas. I don't know the publication, for example, I think it is Jaico Publishers. They have brought out small books, very useful books of some 70 to 100 pages on every Purana in lucid English. And in Telugu, we have many books. In Hindi, we have very many books on Puranas available. Digest handy books also available. So all these 4 padas are there in the Agamas, but the most elaborate are the 2, Charya Pada and Kriya Pada. There we have temple architecture, iconography, and the temple rituals. So many sophisticated, complicated details are available. And one more question about the folklore in Sanskrit. Puranas are the folk traditions of Sanskrit, and the Veda Samhitas are the folk traditions of Sanskrit, and the Brihat Katha tradition is the folk tradition of Sanskrit. So these greatest 3 ways sources of Sanskrit in folk are available. And this, of course, in a superficial manner, of course, completes the 18 Vidyasthanas. But tomorrow I will be dealing in detail the Gandharva Veda, and of course something connected with the Aryan problem and the dating, timing and such problems. I think with a few questions remaining, most of them are answered. The Aryan invasion theory question is there that I will be answering. And the physical evidence of Atma, impossible. Ratri ಎಲ್ಲ ರಾಮಾಯಣ ಕೇಳಿ ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ ರಾಮ ಸೀತೆ ಯಾರು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ದಂಗೆ. Again and again I am saying Atma is spiritual. It is not matter. It is not energy in the physical sense. Such questions God only can save, or the Atma can only save. This is a stupid question. Swamijis and sannyasis, don't worry about all these things. Even after these meetings, one person is asking these questions, means I have no answer to such people. Sorry if I am very curt. What I say is, they can only go to Ravi Shankar or Ma Anandamayi, Ma Amritanandamayi and such people. They can get the hug therapy or then the Sudarshana Kriya therapy and be happy with that. They have their own uses. But I am more critical and more rooted in the foundations of Indian culture rather than the superficial things. But if people are having such confusions, they should not attend these sessions. Why I am saying? Not with any superiority complex. This plane is different. Whether it is higher or lower, I don't know. This is different. But it is most faithful to the originals, most faithful to the spirit of the tradition. There you want to harbor and preserve your damn beliefs. You can be very happy or miserable with whatever Swamijis or Babas or whatever, whoever, whatever, Nityananda or Mithyananda or whatever, I don't know. I have nothing to say about these things. And then one question has come regarding the Bija Mantras. In the Vedas, we have Eem, Aim like Bija Mantras. Om itself is a Bija Mantra. Nobody need disturbed by that. Bija Mantra may not have any meaning in that, but its chanting will have some effect on us. Effect means no extraordinary physical change, no material change. Maybe some change at the level of mind. Like Sarigama Padanisa, Arthakita, Takadime, Takajanu, Tom, Dheem, like that. These are called Shushkaksharas in Sanskrit, or the Stobhas in Samaveda. Ha, Vuha, Hawa, like that. Their chanting will have some discipline on the mind. Children education, of course, our stotras and our Puranic stories, and performing all the festivals, observing all the festivals, main festivals, and then, of course, practicing the sanskaras, interaction, nothing so more than that. Don't put them to any Gurukula or any Krishnamurti school or Doon school or some such schools, valley school. All will end up in valley, no mountains, no peaks. Why I am saying, be in tune with modernity. Modernity is no sin. Hinduism is no regression. So, practice festivals, tell the stories in more attractive manner, Puranic stories, and don't try to educate them with all sort of stuffs. He has to go to karate, he has to go to music, he has to go to dance, he has to go to swimming, all that. It should not be done. Whatever few little things, try to make them appreciate some classical things. That's all. Don't bother too much. We know our forefathers never bothered too much about us, and that's why we are more sensible. And here I should say something regarding Tantra. Many people have a misnomer that Tantra is something. Any practice is called Tantra. Tanu Vistare, that is the root of Tantra. Expansive nature of rituals, practice. Any way is called Tantra. So, Yajna Tantra, and then that is called Mimamsa Tantra. Mimamsa is supposed to be Tantra, it is called earlier Tantra. And then any ritual, any worship, any household worship, if you offer puja to God, the day before yesterday's Varasiddhi Vinayaka Vrata, it's a Tantra. Tantra means just thinking of Panchamakaras, Mamsa, Madhya, Maithuna, Matsya, Mudra. That is one aspect of Vama Tantra. All the things are called Tantra. So music is a Tantra, dance is a Tantra, technology is Tantra. So any process is called Tantra. One need not be disturbed by all these things. And why such strange and horrible or fierce practices are carried out? That is one way of approach. There, if we overcome the concept of disgust and loathsome itself, how it would do? If we overcome the concept of the very dichotomy of do's and don'ts, how it will work out? Like that they practice. It is an extreme way, but it is also a way. As we know, there are several types of musics. In Drupad, we have extreme way of concentrating on one note. But in light music or in film music, it will not be. That's one way, extreme way. Or else in Hatha Yoga, we have some very difficult asanas. It's an extreme way. It cannot be called as wrong, but it is an extreme way. It is suitable only to few people like that. A poet, Chitrakavi, can compose a verse in using only one letter or two letters. I have done many such exercises using two letters, ka and la. Kalikale, kalalila, kalakila, la kelika, kalkakaka, kukileka, kakali, kokila, kula. It has meaning, of course. In the age of Kali, it's very difficult to pursue fine arts. It's something like swimming in the polluted waters, in vicious waters, and moving a sweet-voiced cuckoo, moving among the moving among the groups of crows, like that. That is the import meaning of that. But the circus done, the acrobatics done in two letters, that is very important. Likewise, the tantras using Mamsa, Madhya, Maithuna and all that, there are so many things. One need not be worried. No special gifts and no special benefits are there. See, getting rid of the dichotomy of mind is the only one thing which all the spiritual practices aim at. If that can be achieved by any way, it is your way. If you can do it by one way, and that is your way, and that is not anybody's way. One can suggest the way, one cannot prescribe the ways. So, with this, I think I have taken much of your time. Sorry, we'll be completing today's deliberations, and tomorrow is the most enjoyable session, at least for me, because I'll be dealing with 64 arts and the importance of Sanskrit and the Aryan problem, Aryan invasion theory, a great myth and great hooliganism done against Indian culture, an onslaught on Indian culture. We shall try to do, and future course, whatever, try to explore that. Thank you.